You don't get that involved, do you, Zeb?
You're home with the latest. Here's Rachel.
Oh, nice. You, Todd. No, they're not in my coat. Oh, you get 4 as well. Todd's got the unlucky draw there, didn't he? Good boy. So Todd's all clipped now. You're not looking too happy about it, Todd? Go get you a treat in a minute. So we've clipped him all. So I've left his legs on. In the winter I leave his legs on because he's only really training and maybe going out to some show jump competitions. Todd's saying hello. Let's go the other way. In the summer when I'm eventing, I do clip his legs out, but I just think it's better to keep, well, he doesn't need to have them off. I need to trim the backs of them, but I need our little liveryman clippers, so I've just left them on for now, but he's clipped. We've done half a face. Let's have a look at this, Todd. Which I think I've done a pretty good job actually. And then we've also done his bridle path up there. He was trying to eat stuff out of my pocket, so that wasn't the easiest. So I've got to go and teach now, so we're actually going to leave him till tomorrow, and I'm going to wash him tomorrow, pull his mane and pull his tail, and I'll let you guys see how I do that. Okay, so it's now Saturday morning. We clipped Todd yesterday, didn't we, Todd? Looking all smart. We're going to now pull this mane with, so I use solo comb. There are lots of ways you can do it, but I use a solo comb. You get the longest bit and pinch it, and then back comb up to the root, and then with this you just cut, and it cuts the hair out. Do that again, so pinch the end bit, back comb and cut, and you basically just keep going along the mane on the long bits until you get your desired length. Which his is quite long, so it's going to take quite a while. So just keep going along with the longest bits. Really, in the season I try and keep a bit more on top of this, but because he's been on a holiday, I've just let it grow because it doesn't really matter. His mane is also actually quite thin, so what you can do, instead of taking it to the root, just cut it halfway up, and then it keeps the top of it a bit fuller. So you're just basically cutting it to where you're actually going to want to have it. So here is his pulled mane that we just put on time lapse. I hope you could see that, and I hope you understood how I did it, because I didn't have Lauren here. We can always do a more detailed training tip. He's looking a lot neater, and we also did his forelock. Looking a lot better, aren't you, Todd? Okay, so I've just pulled Todd's mane. Originally we were going to wash him completely, however it's actually quite cold and windy, and he probably doesn't really need a wash, and he's not going anywhere. He's only going to go back out in the field and get filthy, so I don't really want to put him through being washed. However, his tail is horrendous and does need washing, then putting in a plait. So I'm going to show you how I do that, what I do, and then still show you the finished product of Todd, how he looked before and after, which he looks a lot different and a lot better. And then I'll do a bathing video, or I'll do a bathing video in the summer, but the winter's a bit different, and I'll do a bathing video in the winter when I'm taking one of them to a show. I am taking Maximus to a show, however he's bay and doesn't overly need washing, so again I'm not going to subject him to that at this point because it's just cold and not really fair on them. It'd only probably be, to be fair, Todd when he goes to show, because he's grey, he might need a bit of a bath. If it was a nice sunny day, even if it was cold but it's really windy and then I've got to leave in like an hour and a bit, and Todd probably won't be dry. Because it's winter, I don't really like using freezing cold water. I know this probably isn't possible for some of you if you don't have, we don't have a hot horse wash, but we're very lucky we've got a tack room with actually hot water. Before we had the hot water in the tack room, I used to boil kettles. A very long and boring process, however I feel like it's not really fair on them to use cold water even on their tail, so I'm going to use some warm water. So I'm in my tack room and I normally just put warm water, go into the washing up bowl and then pour it into bowls. I also, with their tails, and because he's grey, I add a little bit of washing up liquid, just because that really helps to get them clean. I have used it on when I've had greys, on like when they've got white legs. You do have to be careful. I'd always test a little bit that they're not sensitive. Some can be quite sensitive, but my 17-2 coloured mare, she didn't mind, and it's the only thing I've found that actually really brought them back to white. I know there are lots of different shampoos you can buy for greys. I actually don't buy them. I don't overly have a grey, so I'm not saying they're not worth their money, but Todd's a little bit grey, but his legs aren't, and he's more dapply, so he's not that white grey. I use this apple shampoo that I just got off Amazon. Okay, so we're going to wash Todd's tail, which is looking a bit black. So I've mixed the warm water with cold water, and I got my apple shampoo there. Right, so I've got the bucket of warm water, and then through their tail I put it all in the bucket like this. Just to get it really nice and wet. And then I just get this top bit wet like this. Already, before I even started washing it, at the colour of the water now, it's brown. We got our shampoo that I need to decant. I normally decant it into these bottles, but like I keep saying on every vlog, I haven't had time. So I get a bit of shampoo on my hand like that, mix it in, and then I basically go all over the tail like this. See the colour of that. I think this was last washed when we went to Ireland, which was end of September, and we're now in December, so almost 3 months. So when they're this muddy and disgusting, I may need to do 2 washes, because you can see there that's filthy. Then I'm just going to get a bit more shampoo, because I also need to do the top. Rub the top like this, get it a bit more wet, and then do another wash. Bit more shampoo there. I'm not going to a show, so I'm not trying to get it completely spotless. I just wanted it to be a bit cleaner. And then in the winter I tend to plait their tails for when they're in the field, so they don't get as dirty. Just keep scrubbing. Like the attention, don't you, Todd? Just for the end of the tail, I'm then going to just rinse it with cold water, and then I'm going to get a towel and towel dry it. And I'm trying not to get his legs too wet, because I'm not actually washing them and he's got to go out in the field soon. Rinsing them. I'm going to rinse the top bit with some warm water in a bit, just because that's not very fair on him because it is cold, but I'm only doing the bottom bit of the tail. Because I find otherwise if you rinse the bottom bit of the tail in a bucket, it doesn't really get all the shampoo out, and you don't really want to leave any shampoo in there. Right, so now just got a bit of clean warm water just to do the top bit of his tail, and I brought a towel out. So I've now just got a sponge, just so I'm not using cold on this top bit, which I didn't overly soap anyway because that bit's wasn't as dirty. Probably could do with another wash because look at that water. Ooh. He's only going to go out in that field. He's looking a bit dirty, so we're not going to overly worry. It was just to get the main part that doesn't get too dirty and get stained. Then I'm going to get my towel and I'm going to towel dry. So I always have loads of towels, old towels down in the yard. So whenever I wash them, even in the summer, I towel dry them completely so that they just dry quicker, and especially in the winter it's really important because if you've got them wet just sitting on them, they get very cold, and they do get very cold very easily. My next stage is I need to spray mane and tail conditioner on it and then brush it through. Our naff mane and tail, which we did a bit of a review on our Christmas gift ideas, I just filled up from, I've got a 2.5 litre big bottle of that, and then I just refill it into there. So brush the tail through, which I'm not sure before today, I don't know when that was last brushed either because it was just all a bit muddy and not very nice, so I just left it alone. Nicely fresh, clean tail that's probably going to be filthy again in about 10 minutes. But Todd, look here. Toddy! So this is our finished product now. Mane pulled, clipped. Todd's not playing ball now. Clipped. A nice clean tail. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Look, good boy.